With that, I would like to call Madam. Madam, it would be great if you can give a little bit overview on what CEA is doing and why it's relevant to the smart grid space. Yeah.
Good afternoon, everybody. Mr. Methani has already told you about what we are doing, but we brought out the 19th Electric Power Survey report as said by him. And we found, yes, the demand is going to go up, but not to the extent we had projected earlier because of various reasons. We have a very strong demand-side management, energy conservation, and efficiency program, which has been launched in India. You all know we are going to have 77 crore LEDs. We have the PAT, we have standards and labeling program, we have other programs for DSM. So our energy conservation efforts, which were not there earlier, have now been stepped up to a very large extent, and it is predicted that by 2022, we'll be saving 300 billion units. So that has also affected our demand, and we have brought out the 19th Electric Power Survey. The rooftop segment also has brought down our demand because the demand which we predict is on the utility bus bars, actually. And rooftop will enable rooftop solar and other programs which are at the distribution level, will bring down the demand on the utility grid. Consumers will turn prosumers, they'll be producing energy, and that demand will not come on the grid level. So that is why our demand is coming down. On these two contexts, we are also having a very aggressive program under the UDAY scheme of Government of India, which is targeted at the DISCOMs to bring down the level of losses. So when we are going to bring down our losses to around 15%, 13% at the DISCOM level, AT&C loss, and 17% at the grid level, again our requirement of energy and our demand on the grid is going down. So in 19th EPS, we have projected that we will be having a demand of 235 gigawatt as said by 21-22, but it includes all these factors on which have brought down the demand. It is not that demand is not increasing. We, as said, we are going to have energy to power for all 24/7. By 2019, we are going to have it, so that will increase our demand. We have taken into account the Make in India initiative, dedicated freight corridor, railway electrification. But considering all these together, on one side, the factors which are reducing the demand, and on one side, factors which are increasing the demand, we have prepared our demand forecast, and it does come to 235 gigawatt by 21-22, and 298 gigawatt by 26-27. And 2047 billion units by 26-27, and 1566 billion units by 21-22. This is all taking into account this demand. We have prepared our national electricity plan, which was mentioned, and in this plan we have found that if 175 gigawatt of renewable energy sources come on the grid, then we do no longer require more of thermal capacity addition. We already have, as mentioned, 50,000 megawatt of thermal plants already under construction, but we would not be requiring further thermal plants till 26-27. Though, and we are considering retiring of inefficient and old plants to the extent of 10,000 megawatt. We are also thinking of retiring some plants which are not going to meet the emission norms of the Ministry of Environment and Forest. There are new emission norms which have to be met by the thermal plants. So we will have a lower capacity of thermal plants by 21-22, and but we won't require to put in any more of thermal plants. We have done studies to find out what will be the balancing requirements and the spinning reserves required, which are there in our national electricity draft in national electricity plan, which is on our website, and we have invited comments on that. We have put in place by the Central Electricity Regulatory Commission has put in place regulations for forecasting and scheduling. We all know that this renewable energy is variable and it is fluctuating. So we have put forecasting and balancing regulations by CERC for central plants. We have asked the state regulators also to formulate similar forecasting and scheduling regulations. And the costs of balancing and spinning reserves are being estimated. And as Mr. Mathani said, we will be coming out with what will be the cost for the balancing and spinning reserves for integrating this renewable energy. I would further like to talk about the DER, the distributed energy resources which are coming. Out of the 175 megawatt, we are going to have 40,000 megawatt solar at rooftop. Biomass will also be integrated at the utility level. 20,000 megawatt will also be is utility scale, which is also going to come at utility level. So in addition to the balancing and spinning requirements at the grid level, we also need to think about integrating this very large potential which we have of rooftop. We have a potential of 124 gigawatt of rooftop solar in India, and we plan to have 40,000 megawatt by 2022. And for that, most of the state regulators, to aid this integration, have put into place net metering regulations or policies. About 28 states have put this in place. And we intend to, we also have modified in CA our metering regulations, installation and operation of meters, regulations 2006, to include these specifications for net meter, so that net meters are made under the BIS. I'm chairman of the T13 metering standard committee of BIS. We have made standards for smart meters so that we can integrate this. But all these regulations, with all these regulations in place, we need to do studies about what will happen to the distribution system. Will there be reverse flow? I think US can help us in this. We are all with a mindset of having radial systems in distribution. So our whole protection and this fault coordination philosophy will have to change if we are going to have this integration of renewables in the distribution system. We have put in standards for integration of DER in 2013 by CEA, which mandate how much of harmonics, how much of DC injection, what will be the flicker. We have put standards in place, but now what we require is, we require inverters and testing of inverters so that these standards are met when renewable energy is injected into the grid at the distributed level. That needs to be seen. We need to have testing facilities for all the inverters. We have also mandated smart grid regulations, so that regulatory bodies which had an hesitation in passing the cost to the consumers can now do so through these regulations. The costs of investments in smart grid can be passed on to the consumers as part of tariff. That also needs to be seen. So that has also been done by CEA. We are modifying our technical regulations for connectivity to the grid. The draft is on our website, to include LVRT and HVRT, both for wind as well as solar plants, for stabilizing our grid. That has also been done by CEA. And we are also thinking of bringing out regulations on how EV will be integrated into the grid. We have made studies of how much demand will come, but we felt that the electrical vehicles will mostly be charged during either when solar is maximum or in off-peak at night time. So they may not contribute very much to the peak demand, but rather they will help in storing energy. Maybe vehicle to grid will take place. So we will be having distributed energy storage. And one concept which I feel would help in India is that we have storage at the distribution level also, in addition to storage at the grid level, because in India we have a lot of inverters with batteries. And I feel all those batteries can be used to store energy through the solar energy. Rather, we should have a system of AC coupling. We utilize the energy by the consumers and also store it in our inverter, batteries of our inverters for use later on. So that could also help us in managing the grid. And of course, demand response, again, through smart meters is what we are looking for. And flexibility of thermal stations. We have done studies in our national electricity plan that whatever we require will be only flexible thermal plants which can ramp up and ramp down. We have to bring in that flexibility at the thermal plant level because we have hydro for flexing, but that will only be in the pondage type hydro. So we require thermal plants, which are our mainstay, to be flexible for integrating this huge amount of renewable energy target, which we have by 2022. But with ICT and other technologies coming in and being aided by US, I think we can achieve this target and also integrate the renewable energy sources in the grid. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Anjuli Chandra. That was phenomenal. I think I learned a lot. Thank you so much. Yeah, on the round.